Here are the top stories for today, September 6, 2021. Starting Wednesday, September 8, Metro Manila will be under the general community quarantine, while 7 provinces will be under the stricter MECQ status. The IATF is now finalizing the details of the granular lockdown for National Capital Region. The Department of Health is urging COVID-19 laboratories to submit timely results on swab tests. And the Labor Department provides livelihood aid for informal workers in Pampanga and Quezon Province. Good day, I am William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Metro Manila will be placed under the less restrictive general community quarantine starting Wednesday, September 8. Meanwhile, 7 provinces and 3 cities will remain under MECQ. These are Apayao, Bataan, Bulacan, Cavite, Rizal, Laguna, Iloilo Province, as well as the cities of Lucena, Iloilo, and Cagayan de Oro.
Nagkakaroon po ng pilot dito po sa Metro Manila. At ito po yung tinatawag nga natin na mga localized lockdowns. No? Maglalabas po ang inyong IATF ng guidelines for pilot areas. Kung hindi po mamaya ay bukas sa ating briefing.
Details of the proposed granular lockdown to be piloted in Metro Manila are being formally crafted by the IATF. Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Berjera explains that the measure will balance health and the economy.
So ito pong ating na i-propose would be granular lockdowns plus community quarantine, no? Yung sinasabi natin, hindi na tayo magkakaroon ng full restriction na malakihan, no? Na halimbawa it is region-wide or province-wide. Dito po sa gagawin natin na pagpapatupad, ito po ay hindi na po mas malakihan na restriction kung hindi mas magiging granular lockdown siya with sector-specific restrictions. So ibig sabihin, we give to the community, the authority, to local governments, ano yung areas na kailangang isara dahil mataas ang kaso without having to affect the other areas na merong mabababang kaso. So pangalawa, nakita po namin, nagkaroon kami ng analysis. Ang tawag dito sa analysis is spatio-temporal analysis, kung saan tinignan po ang kalagayan ng bawat barangay sa isang area. At nakita ho natin sa pag-aaral na to, ang mga nagkakaroon ng maraming sakit or infections in a city, for example, ay halos kakaunti lang na barangay but already comprises 80% of their cases. Kaya mas lalo po naming ipinush na talagang kailangan siguro ay granular lockdown na lang para hindi naman tayo nagsasara ng husto at naapektuhan din po ang mga kababayan natin in terms of their livelihood.
The Department of Health, or DOH, is urging COVID-19 laboratories to submit timely results on swab tests. Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Berjera said these reports are being used as a reference of health experts for COVID-19 policies.
Nananawagan kami sa lahat ng laboratorio na lisensyado po ng Department of Health during this time na meron po tayong ganitong sitwasyon. Sana po ay makatulong namin kayo. Please submit completely and on time ito pong ating mga laboratory results. Dahil dito po natin binabase ang numero sa bawat araw, dito rin binabase ang mga response at aksyon na ginagawa ng gobyerno.
The Philippines' travel restrictions on passengers coming from 10 countries has been lifted today. The 10 countries were earlier listed as high risk due to rising COVID-19 cases. These are India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, United Arab Emirates, Oman, Thailand, Malaysia, and Indonesia. Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Berjera said COVID-19 incidence rate has significantly improved in these countries and that they are now under the moderate risk level. Despite the lifting of the ban, she said inbound passengers should comply with the appropriate quarantine protocols.
Meron po tayong strict border control kung saan lahat po ng mga dumadating na travelers ay nire-require nating mag-quarantine. Wala po tayong exemption. Kahit humanitarian, hindi po natin pinapayagan unless merong emergency medical condition. Pero aside from that, everybody goes through our 10+4 quarantine and testing on the 7th day.
The Department of Health said 14.3 billion pesos worth of benefits for healthcare workers has been disbursed in 2 tranches. The first tranche, worth 6.4 billion pesos covering September 15 to December 19, 2020, has been disbursed, representing active hazard duty pay for 384,159 healthcare workers and special risk allowance for 306,314 healthcare workers. For the same period, a total of 103,096 healthcare workers received 991 million pesos worth of meals, accommodation, and transportation allowances. On the other hand, the second tranche, worth 6.9 billion pesos, has also been disbursed for special risk allowance of healthcare workers covering December 20, 2020 to June 30, 2021. More than 30,000 healthcare workers were also covered with life insurance, and 570 million pesos worth of checks has also been released as COVID-19 sickness and death compensation. Health Secretary Francisco Duque III assured that the department will push for an additional budget for the same benefits of healthcare workers next year as the country continues to grapple with the COVID-19 pandemic. The Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases has approved the recommendation to conduct new clinical trials on vaccines that can fight the emerging variants of COVID-19. Presidential spokesperson Secretary Harry Roque said the study will focus on people of different age groups and people with comorbidities or the immunocompromised. Also approved was the recommendation to prioritize the Phase 3 clinical trials that will enroll volunteers in the pediatric age groups or those who are 6 months to 12 years old, the elderly or 60 years old and above, pregnant and patients with immunodeficiency, autoimmune diseases, renal diseases, and chronic respiratory ailments. The Central Visayas region has breached the 2 million mark in the administered COVID-19 vaccine in 6 months. If the momentum is sustained, the Department of Health said the region can reach its desired 70% population protection before the year ends. Based on National Economic and Development Authority data, Central Visayas has over 5 million eligible population for inoculation aged 18 and above. Still to come, the Labor Department provides livelihood aid for informal workers in Pampanga and Quezon Province. And the DILG expresses support for LGUs in protecting municipal waters in the West Philippine Sea. Details ahead, keep it here on the PNA Newsroom. The COVID-19 pandemic has greatly changed our lives for the worse. Lives and jobs were lost and economies reached a meltdown. Thanks to the arrival of safe and effective vaccines, we are one step closer to normalcy. It's time to do our part, get vaccinated for our safety and for our recovery.
If you are there in that community, go there and have yourself vaccinated by any of the vaccines available. They are all potent, they are all effective.
I would like to appeal to all our kababayans, please get vaccinated against COVID-19 and be the government partner in preventing further spread of the disease. I encourage you to get vaccinated as soon as possible time. These vaccines are safe and they are the key to reopening our society. The need for international solidarity and cooperation cannot be made clearer than this pandemic, because everyone is safe. No one is safe globally until everybody is safe.
Vaccines work. The Department of Labor and Employment provides 18 million pesos worth of livelihood packages for informal sector workers in Calabarzon and Luzon. In Candaba, Pampanga, Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello III awarded 6.9 million pesos for displaced workers.
Nagdala kami ng mga tupat, tulong panghanap buhay sa mga displaced workers. Yan, binigyan namin sila ng emergency employment ng 10 days. Trabaho sila ng 10 days, tapos sinelduhan sila ng minimum wage. Ang minimum wage dito sa Region 3 ay 402 pesos a day. So, nagtrabaho sila ng 10 days, binigyan namin kanina ng 4,000 per month. Maliban doon, meron kami binigay na livelihood, yung nego card. Binigyan namin lahat ng mga barangay officials, pati yung SK. Pero hindi ko binigay na sikleta, ang negosyo ng sikleta.
In Lucena City and Quezon Province, Secretary Bello conferred safety seal certificates and awarded livelihood packages at the evacuation center in Dalahican. Dole provided 11 individual projects, 5 certificates of eligibility for 20 motorized boats to 5 fisherfolk organizations, and wages for 480 government internship program interns. The Philippine Red Cross has brought one of its bakuna buses to Barangay Tandang Kutyo, Tanay Rizal to vaccinate priority groups from A2 to A5. The initiative aims to show the PRC's commitment in helping the government in its COVID-19 vaccination initiative. The PRC targeted at least 550 individuals from Tandang Kutyo, Tanay for vaccination, as the barangay is one of the hard-to-reach areas in Rizal. Senator Richard Gordon said they need to intensify efforts to save the most vulnerable, especially in this time of the pandemic. As of September 3, the PRC has vaccinated more than 25,000 in their bakuna buses nationwide. The Philippine Navy is buying 8 units of Fast Attack Interdiction Craft Missile Boats, or FAICM, to secure the country's coastal waters and maritime territories. The new boats will complement the Navy's 12 newly acquired multi-purpose attack craft, or MPAC. Navy spokesperson Commander Benjo Negranza said the acquisition of FAICM is among the projects approved for the revised Armed Forces of the Philippines modernization program. The first 2 units of the FAIC-M are expected to arrive in the country around the last quarter of 2022. The project was awarded to Israel Shipyards Limited and Rafael Advanced Defense Systems of Israel under a government-to-government procurement scheme. The FAIC-MS can interdict surface threats and launch non-line-of-sight missiles safely using the surrounding littoral areas as maneuver space and cover. The Department of the Interior and Local Government, or DILG, assured local government units of its support in protecting municipal waters and local aquatic resources in the West Philippine Sea. DILG Secretary Eduardo Año said, based on the results of the department's fisheries compliance audit, LGUs need to continuously improve their management of municipal waters. He said some of the DILG's partner non-government organizations have reported a high incidence of possible encroachments of commercial fishing vessels in municipal waters. Año said the DILG is committed to capacitate coastal LGUs for transparent and participatory management of municipal waters. This enables LGUs to ensure sufficient local food supply, manage local food supply chains, and bring markets closer to people, and ensure the continued livelihood of communities benefiting from local aquatic resources. And in our business news, the Bangsamoro Board of Investments is facilitating the revival of banana farms in Maguindanao with the expected infusion of 200 million pesos worth of new investments. The BBOI has eased a business understanding between the Eka Salam Agriventures Corporation or ESAC and the Iranum Premier Development Corporation or IPDC. Ishak Mastura, chairman of the BBOI, said the venture aims to address the needs of displaced ethnic Iranun banana farmers affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. ESAC, which previously registered its own Cavendish banana plantation investments with the BBOI, will provide marketing and technical expertise to the farmers. Meanwhile, IPDC will stand as their intermediary firm. At least 200 hectares of land in Buldon, Maguindanao is expected to be replanted with Cavendish bananas for export. Up next, PhilSys national ID applicants are reminded not to wear heavy makeup and accessories during Step 2 registration. And the Department of Tourism helps prop up Isabela City's tourism industry. We're back after a quick break. Stay with the PNA Newsroom. You're still watching the PNA Newsroom. The Philippine Statistics Authority reminds applicants of the PhilSys national ID not to wear makeup and accessories during the Step 2 biometrics process. The PSA said the actual and natural look of the applicant should reflect on the Philippine identification card and its registry. The PSA also reminds PhilSys applicants to wear decent clothing when going to registration centers. Holders of PhilID cards are likewise reminded not to post their PhilID, PhilSys card number, and PhilSys number on social media to avoid being victims of identity fraud. Meanwhile, the Davao City Police Office encouraged people on social media to register for PhilSys. In a Facebook post on August 21st, the DCPO told interested applicants to register for PhilSys online at philsys.gov.ph. As of August 18, over 26 million Filipinos have completed the Step 2 registration, while over 1 million PhilID cards have been delivered. The construction of the Government Strategic Communications Academy or GSCA in Bukidnon Province is starting within this month. The training facility for government media workers and information officers will be built inside the Northern Bukidnon State College compound in Manolo Fortich, Bukidnon. Presidential Communications Operations Office Secretary Martin Andanar said training programs include broadcasting and writing, among others. GSCA would also accommodate private media firm workers who wish to participate in training programs. The PCOO earlier facilitated the construction of the Mindanao Media Hub in Davao City, the first government media center outside Metro Manila. The government is also set to build the Visayas Media Hub in Barangay Subangdaku, Mandaue City. Former Press Undersecretary Robert Bobby Capco passed away due to an illness on Saturday, September 4. Presidential Communications Operations Office Secretary Martin Andanar issued a statement offering condolences to Capco's family and friends. He also extended prayers for the repose of former Press Undersecretary Sol. Andanar described Capco as a journalist through and through. The PCOO chief also remembered how Capco was committed to his profession. Capco was editor of the University of the East, The Dawn publications, a reporter in the Philippine Star, and an officer in the Malacanang Press Corps. He also served as the Journal Group's board president. He supervised the communications programs of the Philippines Information Agency Bureau of Communication Services and News and Information Bureau during the administration of former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. The Department of Tourism has released some 4.4 million pesos to Isabela City, the capital of Basilan Province, to boost its tourism industry. DOT Undersecretary Mayra Paz Valderosa Abubakar said the grant is for Isabela City's tourism short courses as opportunities for people empowerment, or T-SCOPE project. The T-SCOPE is a series of capacity development for tourism stakeholders affected by the health pandemic. The training will upgrade tourism-related skills and open new interests to better and advance sustainable tourism and inclusive employment. Meanwhile, Mayor Siti Gialia Turabin Hataman launched on Thursday the Happy Isabela Tourism Assistance Center. The center will be the focal building for tourism information bookings and guest tourism requirements. It will also serve as the area for souvenirs and other locally made products marketed under the Tatak Happy Isabela tagline. The launch of the Happy Isabela Tourism Assistance Center is one of the highlights of the World Tourism Month 2021 celebration this September. Let's take another look at today's biggest stories. Starting Wednesday, September 8, Metro Manila will be under the general community quarantine, while 7 provinces will be under the stricter MECQ status. The IATF is now finalizing the details of the granular lockdown for National Capital Region. The Department of Health is urging COVID-19 laboratories to submit timely results on swab tests. And the Labor Department provides livelihood aid for informal workers in Pampanga and Quezon Province. As Filipinos, we all have a vital role to play in preventing the spread of COVID-19. So remember, wear your face masks and face shields, wash your hands often, practice safe physical distancing, go out only for essential reasons, and get vaccinated as soon as possible to protect ourselves, our families, and the community. Together, we can beat COVID-19. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. For more news content, check our webpage or log on to the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are also shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, we tell stories that inspire change. I am William Theo. Good day.